Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's the Point podcast. I'm Josh Durrell, the CEO of the Wyoming Business Council, and here today we are at WyoTech talking a little bit about workforce, training, and the future of Wyoming. And with me today, I have a really good group of folks talking a little bit about what they're doing at WyoTech, and also Renny Mackay with the Wyoming Business Alliance to talk about workforce needs. I'm going to turn it over to you first, Jim, and talk a little bit about yourself and what we're doing out here at WyoTech.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. It's my pleasure to want to introduce myself. I'm Jim Mathis, and I'm part owner of WyoTech, and we've had some successes over the years. I came to WyoTech in 1976 as an 18-year-old kid, and fell in love with WyoTech and what we did, so I begged my way into teaching as a 19-year-old kid, and that started a 26-year career the first go-around, went from student to CEO, and then left in 2002. And then fortunately, we were able to buy WyoTech back in 2018 and start over. And so we've had some success over the last 7 years. We started with 12 students and 12 employees 7 years ago, and now we're pushing 1,200 students and 265 employees. So,
okay, wait, let me just see if I got this right. So in 50 years, you haven't graduated from WyoTech.
That's exactly right.
Is that what
I can't get
right?
enough. Yeah,
Right on.
can't get enough.
All right,
So
well, thanks, Jim. Cindy, how about you?
So I'm Cindy Barlow. I'm Director of Industry Relations for WyoTech. I came to work for WyoTech in January of 2019. A diverse employment background that has brought me to an amazing opportunity here working with industry nationwide. I get to travel all over the nation talking about WyoTech, bringing the best employers to campus, working with our career services department, and then offering amazing opportunities for our students to be able to go out into employment in their area. I handle all the branding here at the school, so I get into the partnerships, the equipment donations, and I have a great team to work with because everybody here at WyoTech is a part of my team. So it's a great family environment. We're lucky to have what we're doing here and to be able to see the change in our students when they graduate in just 9 months.
Yeah. So Cindy, I got to tell you, a big part of my life was traveling around the United States as a salesperson. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of times where you would talk to people and they would say they weren't sure Wyoming existed. But I can tell you what they always knew existed was WyoTech.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be shocked at the number of times we would be talking to someone and they'd say, oh, my neighbor's kid's going to WyoTech, or hey, my son or daughter's going to WyoTech. And so you've clearly done a really good job of getting the word out there. And in the 50 years or so that I've known about it, it's pretty impressive to see that kind of reach and how that worked out. So nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Renny, how about you? We've done this before.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going to have to make sure that everybody knows I'm the Business Alliance and we're different than the Business Council.
That's right.
Really honored to be here on this campus. WyoTech's a great member and an example. We're funded and run by our members as the Business Alliance. And so we advocate on their behalf and try to be the voice of business in the state. And one of the biggest issues we're facing is, and why it's so exciting to be here in this moment too, is the workforce challenge that just about every industry at all levels is facing. And then Wyoming has its unique challenge, and that is about 60% of the jobs out there, 20 of the 25 most growing industries require not a bachelor's degree, but something else. And that something else is something that you provide. So love to see the energy around this campus of walking around, seeing hundreds of kids, just action everywhere. And all of those kids I know can go get a job if they want it in Wyoming, if they wanted to stay here. But of course, the needs go across the country and globe.
So true.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point. So if you drive by the WyoTech campus, there isn't a single parking space open. There, when you walk into the building, there is activity. It really is like ants on an anthill, just working away.
Right.
Everybody's working, and it's good to feel that energy. So talk to me. How many students do you have out here, and give us the background? Is it 9 months, 3 months? How does it all work? If you don't mind.
Want to take it?
Sure, I'll take it. So we have approximately 1,100 students on campus as we speak. We are graduating tomorrow, about 260 students, and we'll bring about that many back in January. And so we'll maintain that population until next July and October, where we should hit over 1,200 students. So But yeah, our programs are intended to get in and get out and get a job. And so we're very concentrated. We're very different than anybody else out there that teaches the trades. So our students go to school 8 hours and 20 minutes a day and for 9 months. And you can go longer if you want by adding 3-month sections on and learning more curriculum. But you can graduate in 9 months, and you can actually, if you take the right programs, actually walk away with an associate degree in 9 months in business with your diesel or business with automotive or whatever. We're the only school in the nation that I'm aware of that does that and can do that. But we're able to do that is because they get more credit hours and clock hours in 9 months than most junior colleges give in 2 years because we go to school 8 hours and 20 minutes a day. And so the other thing that sets us apart is our professionalism code. We expect students to be here. We expect students to be clean shaven, wear a uniform shirt, and no earrings, nose rings, tongue rings. So we're very serious about their training because that's what industry is looking forward to. They want someone that can work 8 hours, be professional, and get the job done to make the money. And both parties make money. So,
and I mean, we take attendance 8 times a day. So they have to be on time. We're tracking that all the time. And again, that's what industry is looking for, is somebody who's going to show up. Yeah. Who are you going to be accountable and really take seriously your education? And we're strict on it.
Very strict.
So, they know. You'll see kids running across this parking lot at, 6:45 in the morning. And I mean, they're hustling to get through the door and get to their class because they don't want to be late. So the impression is there.
Yeah, we set that expectation in the high school when we recruit, and we follow through with it. So it's a shock to the system.
And
those
soft skills do matter so much. Or you probably notice because you're talking to the industry who's hiring.
Yeah.
But I was just looking again. The national data is 80% of businesses think that kids are not coming prepared out of schools. The educational system right now, and so I think it's so valuable that you do that. Essentially, you've put that seal on their diploma too, that it's not just a skill, hard skill that they know. They're going to come with soft skills too.
And in fairness, we talk to them a lot about that. I mean, we have industry coming here every Tuesday and Thursday, making impressions on our kids, recruiting our students, talking to them on a professional basis about their next career or their career coming out of WyoTech. And I mean, we're talking about hats off, handshakes, eye contact. How do you have a conversation and speak up? Be a part of the conversation and not be afraid. And to always remember, they're looking at you and they're wanting to interview you, but you need to also interview them. Don't forget that this is a two-way street. And do you feel comfortable? Is that where you want to go? Because in fairness, they're going into a tough environment. They need to be ready to swim in the ocean when they get out there, right? We're trying to teach them to get out there and have that confidence. By doing that and having career fairs every single quarter, by the time they graduate, they have been immersed into industry. And most of our students leave WyoTech with 4 or 5 letters of intent to employment or true offers to employment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Renny, what you mentioned about soft skills and how and then Cindy is you're saying, hey, we're putting them in situations where they've got to develop those.
Yeah.
And they've got to understand how important those are. So tell me a little bit. Do you track students after they get out there, and what's their success rate after a year? And how do you track that kind of stuff?
Not as good as we should.
Okay.
But that's another opportunity.
Yeah.
We track the first employment and first couple probably.
Okay.
And we have to track that and turn that into the U.S. Department of Education as far as our placement rates and everything else. But that's a whole nother thing that we need to get better at, is track these students. And we do have what we call the Hall of Fame. So we do track them somewhat. Mm-hmm. And then we acknowledge and choose about 6 or 7 participants that have done some amazing things each year. And we bring them in and give them the Hall of Fame. And in our other building, we have a whole wall. It's called the Hall of Fame, a Wall of Fame. Yep. And with a picture and everything else and some of their accomplishments that they've done. But we've had students literally all over the world have some great success.
Yeah, and in with that, with our placements, I mean, Greg, we have an entire career services department, and they have to prove their placement. They have to prove the first job. They've got to talk to the student. They've got to talk to the employer. And they have to ensure that they've been placed in a job of the classes that they took here at WyoTech. And that's what also makes us unique to the community colleges and the universities, is that we have to show placement, and that's a federal requirement on us. And right now we're sitting at over 86% placement. So those kids that we're not able to track, they either already had a job before they came to WyoTech and we can't count them, or they go back to the family ranch. So if they've got those jobs before, that's pretty good to say that of 12%, we don't know or don't have record of what they did afterwards.
Yeah, and they have to be third-party verification.
Okay,
so we have to verify it. We do, and then we hire an outside company that they verify with the student, the employer, and us to make sure. Yeah, we're very
audited on
regulated.
that. Yeah.
So Renny, your membership, in which they are part of it, but your membership is also a lot of businesses in Wyoming who engage in career fairs and things like that. And then you also have WyoTech, who have people who come from all over the place, right? All over the nation, maybe even internationally, to come here and see your students. So you're getting good feedback on the quality of your students that way. Tell me a little bit about how Wyoming companies, are they coming to their career fairs? Are they part of that as well? And are you hearing from that, from your membership, Renny? I guess everybody, let's talk about how do we, I'm trying to make Wyoming sticky for kids, right? So come to Wyoming and stick around. How do we get to do that? And it's those Wyoming employers engaging in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're in a unique situation in that you're not getting state dollars, right? Through a budgeting process that's about to start. So
we make it on student tuition only.
Yeah,
now again,
you got to run a business.
We're accredited, so our students are eligible for federal financial aid if they are approved by it.
Right.
But everybody isn't, so some students can't afford us. Long story short. So the only way we make it is through student tuition. And so it seems high, but it's actually cheaper as a cost than most other colleges. If you take a look at their budget and the number of students, everything else, someone else is paying the fee, but our students have to pay and their parents have to pay the fee. But so we recruit probably 65 or 70 students from Wyoming each year out of high schools. Probably over half of them stay in Wyoming. Some of them leave because they want to. Yep. But 95% of our students come from out of state. And of that percentage, we probably put about 100 students a year from out of state that remain in Wyoming.
Okay, good.
So again,
good. Yeah.
50% of our students from Wyoming probably leave.
Sure.
But we're net positive or over positive because about 100 students a year stay in Wyoming because they either marry someone, they see their job opportunities because of the career fairs and Wyoming companies coming to recruit.
Good.
And so we really encourage more Wyoming companies to come in and recruit at our career fair, but they have to be on top of their ball game because it's competitive. And these bigger companies are very competitive. They sign up for our career fairs quickly because they're bigger, they have more resources. And so we encourage Wyoming companies to be on top of their game and register early.
And that's a big deal for us too. I mean, Wyoming and WyoTech, I think that we don't have the word out there enough of we're here. And we want to make sure that we open the door and make sure that they know that we're here, because we're finding new companies every single day and all the time in the state of Wyoming that are not working with us, but I don't think they know we're here.
Right.
And what this is. They may hear about WyoTech, but they've never been on our campus. Yeah. And once they come to the campus, the word goes poof, and all of a sudden they're here. I mean, they tell that story to other people. And so I would love to see, we do have Wyoming companies obviously working with us and recruiting from us. But as Jim said, it's intensely competitive. We usually have between 103 and 107 employers at our career fair 4 times a year.
And that's limited to that number.
And it is limited to that number. And we have a waiting list of other companies, and this is nationwide. We have companies that fly in from Hawaii and Alaska, North Carolina, Florida, and everywhere in between. So our Wyoming companies have to be very competitive to get in there and sign up early, because believe it or not, we fill up in 3 or 4 days in our career fair with that many companies.
And I did want to kind of start with that premise that you are a business, because I think there are some folks in Wyoming who think, WyoTech gets a lot of students from out of state, but you run a business. And So your graduates, I think, present an opportunity to Wyoming and Wyoming companies.
Big time.
But you're also probably indicative of the changes that are happening. And you've touched on this a couple of times, is I think businesses are now starting, and some of them are getting really successful at it, that they know they need to interview a prospective student, and if they see that talent, that they need to actually make sure that the culture is going to match up, and that the student should interview them to say, oh, that is going to be sticky for me to stay there and be successful there. I like what that company stands for. But companies now have to then articulate what you stand for, not just say I promise you a paycheck if you work hard.
Culture is everything.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways, so you kind of need to understand, the students need to understand kind of their culture and what they're looking for, and really understand the company's culture.
Right.
Because the companies that figure that out and the students that figure out, it's a marriage made in heaven. If they don't, it's, that recruiters are hiring someone and that doesn't fit their culture and they leave. So because it's so competitive, these students, they don't need a job. They can get a job literally any day of the week. It's the company that they want to partner with. And the companies need to understand that, because it's competitive, like Cindy said.
Yeah, and in a world where they're talking about, kids don't want to work, that this generation doesn't want to work, this generation wants to know they matter.
Yes.
And when they know that they matter, when you've taken the time to know, do you like to hunt? Do you like to fish? Do you like to cycle? What do you like to do? Do you like to get up in the mountains? What's your deal? Take them to lunch, break bread, get to know them. It's not, if we have an industry that just recruits for a pulse, you will fail. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And as WyoTech, if we just see if they've got a heartbeat there, then we're recruiting wrong as well, because it does take that right student to really fit our model. And so we don't recruit that way. And it's important for industry to take that same approach. A warm body is not necessarily your answer. And your most expensive employee is that employee that comes and leaves.
Yep.
So, and also the employee that's there. So retention is a big deal. And we want to present that kind of employee that's going to go out into industry, pick the right company, and create a career. And that's important to us.
On this, we're talking we talked a lot about diesel, and WyoTech is known for automotive and diesel, primarily. But the landscape of work in Wyoming is changing, right? There are more opportunities in manufacturing, there are more opportunities in fabrication and those kinds of things. You're probably seeing that with the people who are your members are saying, okay, I've got to move into these areas, or I've got to bulk this area up to meet the customers out there. How are you changing to do that? And well, one, Renny, are you hearing that from your members? Are they saying, hey, we're going to have to have more welders, or we're going to have more fabricators and that kind of stuff? Are you hearing a different vibe out there?
Yeah, I'd love to point this out. And sometimes Josh is hilarious because he actually gives bad news about like the Wyoming economy, and I try to cover good news. So like
we make a good team, right?
Because Josh is like, we're kind of facing big economic challenges, and I'm like, well, we are the most diversified economy essentially. At least in kind of an era point. We're the last 5 years, we're probably the most diversified the economy's ever been in the last 50 years. Yeah. It's great news. We're making progress on some things. We have other big challenges too, but Josh will tell you about the challenges. But in that moment, I think we are seeing these really neat things happen where people are going, well, we're going to pay more for our employees, but we need higher skills. We want more talent. And so, I think in some places you are seeing those wages go up. We're seeing these new opportunities that you all do provide. And I love that you do, have that interaction with industry to be nimble pretty darn quickly when they come to you and say, we need a little bit different skill set.
Yes.
The beautiful thing about WyoTech and our structure is that we've always looked at it as our goal is to be able to serve our students and to serve industry. We have to take care of both of those. And so, by having that, we're able to move into, we have six advisory groups a year where industry comes in, meets with our coordinators, walks through our shops. They check to see where we need to diversify to be able to meet industry standards. And then that's also where a lot of the ideas come from, to be able to do partnerships and to move into those partnerships. So industry is a very integral part of everything that we do here at WyoTech, and I think that's what gives us and keeps us above our game and keeps us prepared for Wyoming. And it's also another reason why today is really important to us, because we can talk about those welding and fabrication classes that we have. I mean, manufacturing is really going to be a big part of our future, right? As well as AI. And we are producing students prepared for careers that will not be replaced by AI.
Exactly. Right.
And so that shows longevity, it shows productivity. These kids, students, everybody's my child, are going to be able to have forever careers. And it's amazing as I go around the country meeting WyoTech graduates that are in levels of companies, CEOs of companies. And I mean, look at Jim. He graduated WyoTech and now he owns it. So
he's in the Wyoming Business Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, it turns out.
Yes. So it's a wonderful thing to be a part of this and to see lives change. You see the kids come in from Hawaii and they're like deer in the headlights when they get here, and 2 weeks later, they're growing up. You know, and they're getting ready for that big world. Whereas if they didn't get away from home, it's just a different environment. It's a true growth level in 9 months.
Yeah. Can I just ask real quickly, because I think this is such an important part of our conversation as we move forward as out of a generation and as industry. That point about, like, we hear all the time, oh, the kids don't want to work. You have a wait list of kids who want to come in here knowing the expectations are high. It's going to be hard work, that they've got to show up. They can't be late. They can't miss classes, all of those things. And they show up for you. Do you talk a little bit if you're sorry to steal the interviewing?
No, it's great.
But, you know, what are you seeing in those kids that dispels that line of thinking that the kids don't want to work anymore? And how do you feed it, like you just said, so those first 2 weeks, all of a sudden you infuse confidence?
I think it's how we recruit our students, because we aren't for everybody, you know. So if you want to go to school 3 or 4 hours a day and miss part of the time, we aren't your school, you know. And so we have recruiters across the United States. We have 45 admissions representatives. They live in their own state. So we have, as an example, 4 or 5 in California, 4 or 5 in Texas, 1 or 2 in Wyoming. And all they do is go visit high schools, tell the difference about WyoTech versus any other school out there, and set that expectation. We are different. We are not for everybody. And so if you're interested in WyoTech, these are our standards. This is our expectations, and we follow through on our expectations. You have to start school at 7 o'clock in the morning, or at 4:30 if you're going to welding night class. We start class at 4:30 in the afternoon and go till 1:45 a.m. And so these are our expectations. You have to show up every day. You have to wear a uniform. And so if you think you can do that, it'll produce the best person after 9 months, where industry will want you. You won't be chasing a job. Industry will be chasing you. You can leave with 10 job offers or more if that's what you want. So we set that expectation because everybody can't do the way we want to train students. So, and it's this business is hard, being in the education, because we work at trying to find the right students for industry. We have 2 customers to serve, as Cindy mentioned, the student and the employer that hires them. So we focus on that. Our vision is we want to provide the best training we can. We want to provide the best student experience while they're here in school as well as out of school, and then also the best outcomes for the student, the employer that hires them, and us. All 3 of us have to win. So it's a 3-legged stool. The employer that hires our student has to win, the student has to win, and we have to win from a financial standpoint, because we're a business. So, and so far we're balancing that pretty good. So,
and to that point, I think that we also have a family environment here. I mean, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. None of us are adverse to seeing garbage outside and picking up, so we also set the example. Right. So not only do they work hard, we've picked right, they work hard in the shops, but they're treated with respect. We expect the same in return. but they're learning by watching, and they're learning by seeing the example set. Our teachers have to be on time, right? If we're going to be taking attendance, so they see that. And I think also by meeting with employers throughout the week and then throughout the career fairs, and when they just come and visit, and everybody being open when people are taking tours for the students to be able to have those interactions, the kids get the feel and the excitement of what industry is looking for. I tell you what, in a world that says that they don't have any kids that want to work, we've got over 1,100 of them out there in our shops right now. We've got 260 of them that are getting ready to graduate tomorrow. And if you get a chance to talk to any of them, they will say, we're stoked. We're ready to get out there, because it has built through the time that they have spent with industry. But again, I get a lot of kids coming back to me saying, I want to stay in Wyoming. Where can I go?
Yeah.
So come
So
on,
Renny,
Wyoming, we bring you on.
let's go. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that is the.
Yeah.
But I think it is a little bit of the. Like, we're all changing in Wyoming, where there was a mindset that isn't very old, that all you had to do was post the job, and somebody would come to you, and you would have too many resumes so it was easy for you. They were chasing you as the employer.
Right.
Yes.
And if we just, it's a moment where that is changing, I think, and so
Big
it's going to
time.
be a neat thing to figure.
And that's a
out.
big culture thing, right? Because in Wyoming, we're a little bit isolated, and we tend to move on that slower.
Yeah.
Because we still, I think, for the most part, expect students to come to us to apply.
Yeah.
But are we shifting?
Yeah.
Am I going into your realm of the problem? Because ultimately we have a lot going on. You know, the tariffs have affected industry a lot. They are looking for the level best to come onto their shop floors. So we want to make sure that we're competitive so that we have that student that's ready for that. But we have a lot of industry coming into Wyoming, whether it's wind, nuclear. I mean,
And
it's kind of
manufacturing,
endless
you
with the
mentioned,
coal mines.
Yeah. And you mentioned things that we're now competing. Employers are competing on things that they haven't competed on in the past. As you mentioned, you used to just post a job. You know, you could do this with a high school education and make really good money, and that was all you needed to do. And what is happening is what always happens, change. And people are starting to say, yeah, but I want to matter. I want to matter.
Yeah.
I want to be part of something bigger.
Yeah.
I want the culture to work for me. And the money is got to be there, but it's not the only deciding factor. And we're seeing employers who have a choice between Wyoming and other places, right? You can manufacture things just about anywhere. In fact, it's best if you manufacture them close to your customers, right? So we're seeing that pull, and we're seeing that change. And I think what we're hoping is that people will wrap their head around the fact that we're going to have to do things a little bit differently, and that culture piece is going to be important, and the way they get here is important, and all those things. I think what you're talking about when you're talking about, you know, trying to recruit students for a school here in Wyoming and recruit industry to do the same, you've got to look at it differently. And you're playing kind of a microcosm of what we're trying to do in the state, which is attract businesses to be here and attract people to be here. And you guys have clearly figured out some magic sauce that we ought to listen to. So I'll stop talking and let you guys go.
Most companies understand sales and marketing of their product. So if you're selling equipment or cars or whatever, they've got a sales process, and they are successful at that. What they have to learn now is recruiting students is part of their sales. They have to
That's right.
HR is not just offer the opportunity, it's selling the company and recruiting students out of WyoTech or University of Wyoming or the junior college, wherever that may be. But they have to understand that recruiting employees is it's part of sales and marketing now.
Right.
May not report up to the same area, but it's if you're going to grow and fill your shop and your openings, it's part of sales and marketing.
So, and figure out your competitive advantages.
Absolutely
And,
right.
and then go where your customers are, because I love
Yes.
that they're coming here. You're going to filter for who's enthusiastic to hire her.
Yes.
And because as we've been involved as the Business Alliance in supporting a little bit on the College of Business and a couple other colleges, engineering and arts and sciences, even trying to help too. Like, okay, we've got talented kids.
Yes.
We'd love them to stay in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
how do you make the introductions? And the businesses that are successful usually have a relationship inside an organization.
Yes,
that
exactly right.
UW or WyoTech
Exactly
or Western
right.
Welding. And
Yes.
But
absolutely.
the mistake that's made is that through the participation, that's not recruiting. The recruiting is getting to the student.
Yep.
And so being a part of is one great big important part. But if you're not connecting them with industry, and that's what we do well here at WyoTech, then they may say, well, gosh, we supported whatever school, but we didn't get anything out of it. Well, what did you do?
What did you bring?
So
Yes.
we talk about kids not having a conversation, but are they having a conversation?
Are the adults?
Right.
Or are they talking to Renny and saying, gosh, I really need this and I would really like to have this? Renny can't go out there and recruit for them. So it's got to be a different approach.
Yes.
Yeah, and then those parts of it, right? If you don't get to know the person,
Right.
then you probably can't find out if you match. Because if you're going to say, oh, well, Jim loves to hunt, but we don't give time off in the fall.
Right.
That's exactly right.
But I love to ski, and so I love a powder day every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The other suggestion I have for any industry, whether it's Wyoming or whatever, but they'll normally send their HR recruiters out to recruit, and they tell all the great and wonderful things about their company, which are true. But then they put these students with an old grouchy service manager that runs them off faster than HR can recruit them. So it is knowing and understanding what type of culture they're going to enter, and it's up to the student to understand. Hey, you sound great and wonderful, HR, but who am I going to be working for? What is their attitude? Are they going to accept me? Because our students don't know everything, just like University of Wyoming students don't know everything when they graduate.
That's right.
Western Welding, it's a process, and the students that feel welcomed into a company and like family will survive and thrive. The ones that are treated like you should have known that, you went to school, and you spent 9 months training, or 2 years, or 4 years, or 8 years, and if they're treated like crap, there's other opportunities that will treat them like family.
Yeah.
So,
Well, go ahead, Cindy.
Well, I was just thinking, to your point, is WyoTech believes in good partnerships all the way around. And we've recently done the articulation with the University of Wyoming. So not only can you go to WyoTech, your time here can be counted in support of the CTE program of the state of Wyoming. To WyoTech time can go from us to the University of Wyoming. And then there's like 22 credits that they can take even remotely, get their associate's degree, continue on to their bachelor's degree, and become a teacher.
yes, all our credits transfer into the CTE programs at the University of Wyoming.
Yep.
Every one of them, 60 credit hours in the 9-month program.
Yep.
All transfer. So,
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And what was that in response to? Was that something that?
The-
Lack of CTE teachers is probably
absolutely right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Jenna Shim, the Dean of College of Education, she understands and has gone out to all Wyoming schools, high schools and junior college and everything else, and really started understanding the trades and how different we think, and said, we got to partner with this. So, and it helps all schools because we're trying to produce more CTE qualified teachers to go back into high schools. And so if we can be part of that, we want to be part of that, and we are part of that. So,
And the cool thing about that is it happened over a simple lunch, but what was different was the action.
Yeah.
And so often we talk about things, but we don't do them. And so things happen, lives are changed when you progress, when you take those steps to make those happen. And that's what happened.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
I want to talk about that for a second because that's something that I think our frankly our economy is in that spot where things are working okay. I'm going to try to.
You're going to try to be optimistic.
I am. I'm optimistic, but
You're starting to rev up.
I'm hopeful. Yeah. But we're in a spot where we're going to have to look at things a little bit differently, and we're going to have to try some things
Change.
and take a few risks. And you have clearly done that. And so talk a little bit about how you experiment with things, how you take action on ideas, and then, at what point do you say wasn't a good thing or it was a great thing and we put it into practice? Tell me about that because you've done that.
Yeah, we're always, I call it dreaming and scheming. We're never, there's all kinds of opportunities. I mean, we could teach so many different trades, but we're trying to kind of stay in our lane. So we pretty much stay within the lane of the transportation industry plus welding and fabrication. That's kind of our niche, and we're good at it until we grow and continue to grow. We probably won't get into the plumbing or house building, although it's tempting because we need more houses.
Yeah,
We need some houses.
really.
So
Actually,
That's a same conversation.
we've definitely kicked that idea around, but we're staying in our lane right now. But those are opportunities. But we started a ranch program 4 years ago and thought that would be great and wonderful. We knew we would not make any money. We knew we would lose some money, but I'm passionate about agriculture and ranching and the precision ag and all that type of stuff that goes with it. So that was going to be our program. We thought we were going to get a ranch to lease, and it fell through the cracks. In the meantime, we started a program, the ranch program, spent probably close to $1 million on equipment and teachers and everything else. And within 4 months, we said, this is not going to work. And so we pulled the plug, reimbursed all the students their tuition, even though we trained them out as far as they wanted to go. And we still reimbursed everything and said, well, okay, write it off. Right behind that, we started a welding and fabrication program. And it's working. It's working very well. We're full all through 2026. And so, so we're continually evaluating. One of the things that we've done over the last 6 months, we've hired two employees out of C&B Equipment. They were working for C&B John Deere Equipment, and we're really focused on this precision ag. And I call it precision ag. It's much more than that. It's all your GPS systems on trucks. It's going to have drones where they fly over and spot weeds and only kill the weeds and everything else. And so we've got 2 people working on that as we speak on curriculum and everything else that we'll be implementing more and more of that into our curriculum. So over the next 2 years.
So you failed and you didn't just quit. You didn't just pack it in and say, "No, we're gonna try something new. We're not gonna keep going with something different." I mean,
It's not in my nature to quit. I evaluate stuff pretty quick, and if it works, great. If not, eliminate it, move on.
And that difference between quitting and evaluating, though, right?
Yeah. That's it.
And
you learn.
You learn. It's not a failure. It's a learning experience. So we learned from it and said that didn't work, but in the meantime, here's another opportunity. Let's try. So I'm a risk taker, and again, I analyze and I spend a lot of time with my people and team to have them fight me because I want a good.
He just agrees.
You want to make sure that
because I tell people if you don't challenge me, my employees, if you don't challenge me, I could take this thing off the edge of the mountain and fail. So I want to be challenged. If you think I'm crazy, it forces me to go back and reanalyze, and I'm going to challenge you. So I want to be challenged back. And so it's a good dialogue between us. And I ultimately normally win and fail.
I was going to say, I was like,
but I love a good argument and a good challenge, and because I want to be challenged, because I'm going to challenge, them, and I want to be challenged back. Because it's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's about how we provide the best curriculum, best training to our students and our employers that are going to hire them.
And as a team, that's how we grow and build trust.
Absolutely.
Because we know we can have those tough conversations and move on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have a very dynamic team. I love our employees, and I love the challenge. I like to be challenged because, again, I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to challenge the status quo, but I also need to challenge back and say, Jim, time out. I've got a gentleman, he's over regulation. His name is Doug Mann, and this is the 3rd company we've worked together. And because I'm a type A, go do it, get her done.
Yeah.
And he says, time out, Jim. He says, I know where you want to go, but we better do it legal. That's why. And I say legal within the regulations.
No, he means that.
So we should probably do this again because this is super fun.
Sounds great.
I would absolutely. I've been on this little bit of a kick, and so I want to say something that I'm sure the audience is picking up, but I think it's really important right now as we look at the future and as we think about the economy into the future or businesses into the future, who we're working for. Mm-hmm. And we're working for those young people who are going to inherit the future that we are creating with them. And I think that's a key thing. Yes. Is sometimes we think we're creating it for them, and what I can tell you do is you create it with them. And there's two reasons why I think that's important. One is it creates the future that's going to last.
Yeah.
Okay. But the other part of it, and this is maybe people should see this as selfish, the amount of energy that you have because you work with young people is apparent. And I really believe that's where it comes from. They're like batteries for our life. And I think we've got to really kind of grab a hold of that and engage and let young people tell us what the future looks like, because they see it better than we do.
Absolutely.
And I think that you can see today that there's a lot of energy in this building, in this campus. But I think that you probably would agree that you benefit from it, and you're better off because of it. And I think it's important for us to really listen and look to the future, and again, let the young folks help us build the future that matters for them. So
Absolutely.
thanks for doing that.
Yeah. If you see the projects our students have completed in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, it will blow your mind, and it's skills like they never had when they came in, and they leave, they can start their business. It's pretty amazing.
And here we are just before Christmas. And this morning, in the last day and a half, I've registered 153 kids to take a test, their first professional ASE test that is normally not provided to them until they've been out in the field for 2 years. But ExxonMobil came back in and said, we would like to support this, and at $100 a pop. And so 153 kids signed up just here before Christmas to take a test. And so to see them excited about being able to show their excellence was pretty rewarding.
Yes.
Well,
Yep.
I love it. Just it's so exciting again to be here, and that you've just got an amazing operation here. But the pride that you have in those students, you're just showing off projects before we started taping, and I love that. Right? That you are proud of them, and that is what I think does help shape up right.
We love our students. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for being here.
Thanks for having
This is
us.
great.
us.
Yeah, great conversation.
Fun
Yes.
stuff.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Yeah.